one ignoring this rock and roll stuff anymore. Every hotel and club in the country's wiring for information.
Hello, Groove Dogs. Welcome to the Runaway Radio Rewind, a program that looks and listens back to the heyday of one of America's truly great radio stations, the legendary and late KLOL. It's the Runaway Radio Rewind. And now, here's your host, Steve Robinson.
Hey, if it's your first time here, welcome in. And if you're a veteran Groove Dog, well, welcome back. It's the Runaway Radio Rewind. And today, stopping by is a familiar voice on the Houston airwaves. Now, KLOL had their share of awesome personalities through the years, and this one is definitely on the list. I've had the chance to work with her on several radio ventures. We sit down and talk with Donna McKenzie, a Texas Radio Hall of Fame member and a true friend. We talk about her time with the legendary KLOL, and she takes us down memory lane a bit. And while we're here, we got to squeeze in another S&P Uncle Waldo classic, so just kick back, enjoy. It's the Runaway Radio Rewind, and here is Donna McKenzie.
I was working at Z107, which was a classic rock station. That was the first classic rock station FM in the nation, and so it became a real competitor to KLOL. And I was doing afternoons there, and that was the time when Dana left KLOL. Dana Seal left KLOL, and she went to California. And so she called me. She called me and she said, "Listen, I think you would be a good fit, and I would, we've been talking about you. Are you interested?" And so I was on maternity leave at the time. I just had my daughter. And so I took a meeting with the program director at KLOL at the time, and that didn't work out. I think I was too close to me just having had a kid. And,
right.
He actually asked me, how do you think having a child will, affect your work? Because we are very hands-on. We're out all the time. And I was like, even the president has kids, But anyway, so it was about a year and a half later, new program director. And I wound up meeting him at a show. It was, I forgot who it was. I can't believe I forgot who it was.
Just a concert?
Yucatan Liquor Stand, I can tell you that much. Forget, who cares who it was? So
we all went there many times. We don't remember leaving a lot of times at the Yucatan.
I don't remember who I saw. No, I should remember that, but I don't. And so I met Ted Edwards, who was the program director there at the time, and he invited me to lunch. And he said he'd been, listening. So it began a conversation of what would it look like for you to work at KLOL.
Check out the website, runawayradiorewind.com. Hey, it's Steve Robinson. Without further ado, it's Uncle Waldo.
Teenage Shipwrecked Ignoramus Type Person, as authored by Jenny from McKinney.
Jenny from McKinney?
In Act 1, Scene 1, we find that Uncle Waldo, his wife, Nympia Scooter Pie, the former Miss Pie, and the single man, Big Bruno, are shipwrecked on a desert island. Well, it doesn't take long for Big Bruno, being a single type of guy, goes to all the clubs and everything, to get what we call a glandular problem. I mean, he gets horny. And finally, he comes up with an idea for getting lucky with Uncle Waldo's wife, Nympia. He climbs way up in a tall palm tree there on the island. And we hear Big Bruno holler down to the couple,
"Hey, stop that humping down there!"
Well, Uncle Waldo looks over at his wife, who's standing 10 feet away, and says,
What the hell is he talking about?
I don't know. He was up there on top of that palm tree, Uncle Waldo, and he said, "Stop that humping down there." What in the hell does that mean?
Whoa! Again, we hear Big Bruno say,
"Hey, stop that humping down there!"
Well, this goes on for several hours, until finally Uncle Waldo is overcome with curiosity, and he decides to climb up the palm tree to see for himself what Big Bruno's problem is. As he's going up the tree, Big Bruno jumps down to the beach, grabs Nympia Scooter Pie, and proceeds to have his way with her. Well, finally, Uncle Waldo reaches the top of the palm tree where Big Bruno had been, He looks down and we hear him say,
Yeah. Damn, if he wasn't right. It does look like they're humping down there.
Hey, yo, check 1, 2. This the Flavor Public Enemy. Stop the love you save and be a friend of me. Right here on the Stevens and Pruitt Show, 101.
And I basically got the offer I couldn't refuse. So, and it was a hard choice too, because KLOL had a really aggressive reputation, and I had been really comfortable for 7 years in the role that I was in already, but the challenge was just too good to pass up.
Mm-hmm.
It was too good to pass up, and they were huge marketers. I mean, they did real splashy. You know, Doug Harris is a genius. You know, he had the city of Houston in the palm of KLOL's hand.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so joining that legendary team was just something that I had to do. And so the transition was from going to this beautiful, shiny new, you know, skyscraper studio that was built by the Disney company,
Yeah.
to KLOL, which was like, you don't even want to know what's in the carpet. You know, KLOL was firmly back, just go way back to 70s AOR, you know, hanging out, sit down console, super old grimy board, you know, tight space.
Now this was the Moffett building.
This was over on Levitt.
Levitt,
Yeah,
that's what it was.
over on Levitt. And it had such this rich old AOR, you know, heritage feel to it. But and it was like really super laid back, when it made it feel, what I had been doing prior, feel quite corporate.
Mm-hmm.
And so I really liked that. That was really cool. It was this laid back that the first week I was on the air, I somehow turned the radio station off with my foot.
Did you kick something, or
I think I just recrossed my legs, you know.
you hit a switch somewhere?
Yeah, I did. And pardon my allergies. And so I hit a switch, and KLOL was so chilled out that it was about an hour later that an engineer showed up. You know,
So this whole time, are you doing breaks and you're thinking you're on the air?
Until people were calling saying, I think you're off the air, and we were off the air. And so I go down the list and I call the engineer, and he's like, he's at lunch, he'll be there in a little bit. You know, comes back in, turns the station back on. But it was put together in such a way that a jock could actually turn it off with, you know,
Just moving around.
Right, just moving around.
Wow.
But that was fun. That was funny. I didn't get in any trouble over that one, but I didn't do it again either.
Can you imagine that happening, like, in today's radio world?
No, you'd get canned so fast.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, no one would build a station like that right now. So,
Right.
But it was legendary, and you could just feel the history in those hallways and in that building.
You've been listening to the Runaway Radio Rewind. Join us next week for more memories and goodness for the intelligentsia from the people who made the former KLOL what it was. Find us online at runawayradiorewind.com and be sure to grab your Runaway Radio gear. You can find the show on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Google Play. Show us your dog, and we'll see you next week on the Runaway Radio Rewind.